Hey everybody. So I hope you had a great trading day today. It was a slow one, but there was a lot of really very interesting developments that we're going to get into here. So as always, subscribe to this channel and click notifications because what we're going to go over is extremely timely. I whittled it down to about 25 names, and I am also going to cover crypto very quickly because I keep getting asked about it because of what's transpiring right now. And I'm just going to go through Bitcoin and Ethereum. And we're going to run through this, and I'm going to run through the ASAN trade today so that people can understand like the methodology behind it. But let's get into it. So first and foremost, the first one I was asked about was AMD. And I'm just going to get rid of these indicators for a minute on AMD. And let's click this and let's get rid of this for a moment. So you have this wedge and then you broke the wedge here, right? And then as soon as you did, you kind of had your follow through. What's important about this is you have a lower trend line of an upper channel and you have the wedge coming down and it forms a convergence point and you broke out there and you had follow through. And that follow through led to today. And now you're getting you're getting over these red bars that were the down, the down move. What this is doing is this is setting you up. This is setting you up to go higher. It's setting up to try this 94, 95 level. So if you're interested in this, or for the people that are asking, this is a very simple way to do this. I don't have volume, but all you want to do is if I close below the 21 day, you just don't want to be in this. If you get up to this level to 94 and 94 and a half, I mean, that's really what you're shooting for. And that's as high as you're going to get. Once you get into this red bar, which you are in, so I'll say it again, once you get into this red bar, which you are in, that red bar is basically in control, right? So if you think about it that way, your high is going to be 95 and a quarter. Just consider that, usually you're supposed to buy this stock. You buy MD when nobody wants it. It's just the way it is. So Amazon is getting some goodwill and actually doing exceptionally well from my standards. I'm surprised that it's back here so fast, especially since you broke this key level here, right? And I don't know if it's going to get any play. Let's just see if we got any different movement. Yeah, I mean, even the social media stocks are moving this after hours, which is kind of interesting. I mean, obviously those stocks just Twitter and Snap, which we will get into, they just absolutely crushed it tonight. Facebook's hitting a new high after hours. It's at an all-time high. So if you can believe that. But so what you're seeing here is you're just seeing this really setting up to try and attempt to get through this. This is a lot of red to get through. So I'm not in the big hurry here. I mean, you could argue that this 5-8, the way that these are turning, that we're going to go. Look, you very well could. Tomorrow is option expiration. Anything can happen. To me, I think they peg it at 36.50. I could be wrong, but getting above the top of this wick line, which is 36.50, and you could push to the top of this one, which is 3,700. So if you're looking for a lotto option trade, it's probably, that's not a bad one if you're looking for something like that. But that can happen. That absolutely could happen. So this trade, ASAN, what's on here is from the newsletter. As always, there's a free way to get the newsletter. There's just a link in my bio, which is the top banner on the channel, and also in every description there's a link. It comes out, the free version comes out every Wednesday, and just gives you a synopsis of what we're doing. So it's a good way to kind of understand what's actually going on here, and what's going on in the markets, especially if you're a beginner. So let's just go through this. So we got in this yesterday on this break, right? And you can see how, let's really drill into this because this is important. You can see how we held this line, right? And then we opened at that line, and then what happened, right? You came down, right? And then bam, there you go. And what we were looking for, which was really interesting about this, what I was looking for, if you look at the level that I picked, and I was questioned, why'd you pick that level? let me just walk through this. See how that open gets you right here, right? See this line right here? That's the line I wanted to cross. 90. It's 69.30. That's the line I wanted to cross. I wanted to get above this open, this high, this open, right? That's what I was looking for. I kept stopping there. So if I get above that, it's going to go. And that's exactly what happened. I got above that, cleaned that all up, and went from there. And I just want to point something out. The reason that works is because opening prices are really where the market makers, right, are putting together all the orders. So that's why those lot lines are so significant. Just something to kind of remember or make a note of. So what you're seeing here is this 71 level, right? Boom, pops out. What's the low of the day? The open, right? Besides that little head fake that it gave us, right? And there you are. Hold on one second. Let me get rid of this because I just want to make sure it doesn't change it doesn't. Okay. So your open is here and then you run up, but at some point today, this came all the way back down after running up, right? And then everybody kind of panicked, thought we were going to have like a gravestone bar. I mean, that's a typical game that is played where, see, I don't want to get too in depth, but let me just give you an example of today, okay? We did a trade today in the community, and I'm going to walk through it so everyone can kind of understand it, right? But essentially for me, what's important is to understand the kind of market that you're in. We're lulling during the summer, right, between 11 and 1. Everybody's noticing it. The volume's drying up. We're not going anywhere, okay? So what transpired today during that time, okay? Here it starts at 10:30, goes to 12, 12:30. What happens around 1 o'clock, okay? It's 11 to 1. It doesn't always work this way, but people just step away from the bid. They're just not interested, right? They're doing family stuff. They're trying to fit in their life and get anything they can get done in the summer. So you get pullbacks during the summer like this. And this is a great example of one. So for me, all I did was watch this come in. And then I was just looking at this particular pattern and what was going on here, right? So I used this as my stop. And all I was looking for really was for this to just not hit a lower low. Now, here's 70.80. Here's 70.80. So I have one bar and then this bar opens where that one is, and then I don't have a new low, okay? What does that give me? That gives me a bar, right, that closed at 71.15. I executed at 71, and then all of a sudden I have a stop that's 50 cents. So I get to see if this thing does close back at the high for 50 cents, and that's exactly what happened. And then all we're doing is just assessing what our risk was, which was 50 cents, and then just moving the stop up the whole way. And our target was 74, and we got there. So this one worked out perfectly, but that was the methodology behind it. And I'm going to point this out too, for those that want to learn. And for those that are new to this, I do point out a lot of stuff. I try to make these educational, not just, regurgitate information and get you all excited. I mean, it's kind of pointless. But let's just go through this, right?
Market data connection lost.
Here's that 71 level, right? See how we hit here? What is this
Market
RSI
data
doing, right?
Reestablished.
See how all of a sudden it's going up, but what did it do? It gave me my bottom, right? And then while it's bottoming, what did it do here? Went higher. So in other words, let me just draw a line on this so you can see this. Okay. And this is actually getting way more in depth than I wanted to. But see that trend line? Okay. See how that trend line's going up? What's happening to my stock while that trend line's going up? I'm basing. So essentially I'm going flat, but the RSI is going up. There's another indicator that I used and overlaid that, and it was a way to get me in the trade. So for those that are asking, now what do you do with it? It's your day trade. So if you were in it, you stayed in it. If you sold it, you sold it. It was a great way to get back in a trade that you might have missed earlier. For me, I think this is going at least to 80, if not higher. You're actually starting to see volume accelerate. Someone talked to me today about this RSI being negative. I might as well just hammer it out now. It's not negative because you broke out. And it's really kind of, maybe I can open this up a little bit. So you actually broke out on your RSI. So anything that was negative is gone. And maybe I just need to do another RSI video and get into advanced techniques. But when I get what you're saying here, where this part is here, this part is here, therefore it's negative. It's not, because you've broken that and you set up a new trend. So, but I can get into that and do another advanced RSI. If you haven't watched the RSI video, I'm going to link that tonight at the end of this. I would strongly recommend that you get a good understanding of RSI. It's really important. It's one of the best things that you can use to trade, and it's actually one of the only leading indicators that are out there. A lot of the other ones are just pure nonsense. So AVPT, I just want to go over this really quick for the gentleman that asked about it. So let's just go over what's going on here, okay? I cannot get above this 1255. Until I'm above 1255, I would not go near this, okay? I would just avoid it. I am getting some love here with the 8-day pointing up. The 50-day is kind of basically flatline. The 21 is flatlining, but let's get above this and go from there. So that's really what I'd like to see. Now, other than that, I wouldn't touch it. And frankly, if I reject here and took out this low and I was long, I'd be getting out. So I wouldn't want to play games because, right, like, look, I mean, we rejected again. What's a price rejection, right? We know what these are. They're price rejection. So it's not something that we want to be involved with. It just really isn't. So let's just see what happens here and we'll go from there. But overall, in my opinion, I don't want to be involved with things that are rejecting, and especially near key levels. It's just pointless to me. So Bitcoin, let's get going here with this. So Bitcoin, here's where you're at. Okay, you bounce, right? Bonk, bonk. What did we do today? Bounced. No matter how you cut it, you bounced. The issue for me in thinking that this is a solid bounce is that I didn't even undercut this. If you undercut this and then trade it up, you may have put a bottom in. The fact that you're not undercutting this yet leads me to believe that there's more downside pressure from a technical basis. This is a lot of volume that came in today on this, okay, that we haven't seen before. So I still am not a believer that this is over. I still think we're breaking this, and I'm still thinking that we're leaning towards this 20,000, but we'll see. I mean, that we've hit here a couple times now, but to me, it's still leaning that way. So for me, it's still an avoid. And I won't have any interest in this until I'm at least above. When I'm above the 50-day, let me know. For me to try to pick this off at 32 when I could buy it at 34, and I have confirmation at least that institutions are back involved, I'll wait for that. So docs, we're going to do an hourly chart. And the reason we're going to do an hourly chart is because we want 3 or 30 points, right? And we just simply don't have it. And you can see what's going on here with docs pretty clearly, right? The 60.81 level, that seems to be a real big issue for it, doesn't it? And you see how you broke out here on this hourly? And then now you have the wick. And as we just discussed, wicks are price rejection. Then you hit the open here, bang, comes right back down, tries to get back through it, bonk, 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 can't do it. I mean, do I really want to be buying this if I can't get above 60.81? Right? The answer is no, because they flip, right? These levels flip. So if this flips, it goes to here, right? So the support becomes resistance, right? Resistance becomes support, actually, in this case. So there's nothing to do there until that triggers. I do like the fact that you're getting some volume coming in here. So Docu's doing everything right. I mean, this was the level we had to get through today. We got through that level. We're forming a flag on the hourly. I'm sorry. And let me just show you the daily. Oh, that's the session. I don't really care about this session. It's silly. We're in this in the newsletter from 299. You know, I don't know that we'll move the stop up yet. Maybe. But I'll review that later. Let's just keep going. So look at this. Okay. Every single level that you had to break, you're breaking. Then you close above it. Then you close above those two wicks. Like this is telling you that we're setting up for one of those kind of moves where every day you're up $2 or $3, right? You're up 1%. It's going to start grinding, and I'm going to explain why. I'm going to get rid of this, put this down here, and put this down here. So the reason that this was so appealing to me, and I guess we can just pull these out of the way for a moment and just not really pay attention to them. So the reason this was appealing to me was this level, and I can get rid of one of these. Instead, they cloned it. There you go. So once you broke this, okay, you were in a base here for about a year. So you have a year base and you're just breaking out. So sit back. Don't be in any big hurry here. Just leave it alone. Let it do what it's going to do. When you have bases like this, they usually continue to go. And that was one of the reasons why I liked Amazon so much. But then we just got stopped out. It happens. But I expect this to continue, and I see a lot of upside here. I think there's huge upside for this name. So DPZ, I was asked about. I'm just going to cover it. Like, you have to realize that this is probably one of the best performing stocks of all time, and nobody really even talks about it. Like, 2008, if you go back in 2008 and you bought this, you paid 73 cents for it, right? I mean, it's ridiculous, and it just keeps going. But Domino's, I mean, they're an internet company. It's just crazy, but it just keeps on going. Look at that chart. It's just crazy. But what they do and the way that they do it, it's just they're excelling. And this was earnings, and the earnings just exploded. I mean, look at that move. It's just enormous. So I think that that'll continue now, obviously. I don't think that's going to stop. How do you trade this? Well, it's really hard to buy this now, right? The only way you can really do it is getting above that 548.21, filling that gap, and then using like a 15-minute or hourly chart, looking for setups and trading those setups. I mean, that's really all you can do. If you're in this, congratulations. This was a monster move on huge volume, just outright enormous volume. Really nice move off this bounce from coming back down here on this earnings. Right, and then you reestablished yourself here, consolidated. Looks great, acting excellent. So congratulations to those that are in it, but I would not be chasing it. So Ethereum did something very similar to Bitcoin today, right? Let me get rid of these indicators. We really don't need them. But see this 1737? You hit it, and you bounced. I still need to see some capitulation, right? I still need to see it. I need to see a break of like this level, shake everybody out, and then go higher. And we just haven't seen that yet. So until we see that, I remain pretty bearish on these. And, I'd like to see that happen. Again, same scenario. What do I want to see happen? Get me above the 50-day. All I did today was run to the 21 and the 200 and get above the 8 for the first time in 10 days. That's not that interesting to me. It's got to do better, and it's just not there yet. So Ford, I really like, and I'm going to show the monthly chart again. But you're just sitting right on this wedge. I mean, you're just sitting there, and it's just a matter of time. You can see this little Morningstar pattern here, right, from that candlestick video that we did. But look at this for those that haven't seen this yet. Okay, it's a 21-year secular break. Whoops, let's put that back. Right there. Okay. So that's a 21-year secular break, and you're breaking out and you're heading to this level. So I expect this to finally get there. But before you can even buy it, you really need this to happen and get through. Facebook. So Twitter had great revenue, right? Stuffed the channel with the ads, obviously. I mean, it's pretty clear what they did. Their daily average users and their monthly average users are down a lot. But Snap came out and absolutely crushed. And what that's doing is it's driving Facebook up. So I expect this to be a big player tomorrow on the engagement from Snap, depending upon how Snap's call goes tonight. I don't expect it to get a lot of comparison to what's going on at Twitter right now. So, but this is a channel, right? This is a whole base. We undercut the base, like I just kept talking about. I wanted to see in Ethereum and Bitcoin, and then we ran back over it. this is telling you we're going to resume and go higher. This is your channel right here, right? So, this might have another 10, 15% in it pretty quickly. Some can argue that there's a channel right here. I don't see that because you have more of a trend right here. But I see your argument if you're thinking that. But I do think that you're going to get up to in the fours. I think this is going to push now. I don't know when they have earnings. Yeah, I mean there's your key. It's going to have to be a trade unless you're going to want to hang in there for earnings, which is July 28th. So that gives you a little bit of time, but it's coming. So just be aware of that. But it's going to move because a Snap just absolutely obliterated their numbers. So I would definitely put this on your radar for tomorrow. It's going to be a great trading name. Globe. So what happened with Globe here today? Okay. 63.5. Where did we close? 63.5. What bar is in charge? This red bar. So until we get out above the 63.5, I wouldn't touch it. Now you could also wait until you get through the 68.73 level on Globe, because you really just want to see that happen, right? Because this wick is what? This wick's price rejection. So do I really want to be buying it into that? I mean, maybe if I had a close in it, right? Like maybe if I got one close in it, but we really haven't had a close. Like if you come straight across here, look at this level. That's why it's so important to pay attention to detail in charts. But if you look at that level, right, you don't have one close above that line. Somebody's selling. So I would wait. Let's go do this IIPR. So this is one that we're in at 212 from the newsletter. We are at 211.09 tonight. I think it's actually closed less than that. Let's just take a look at this. Yep. So you actually closed like 5 cents less than that. I don't see anything wrong. I know people are not thrilled because everybody got a little spoiled with, the BNTX and how well we did there. But, and some of the other moves, I don't see anything broken here, like remotely. So I would argue that it looks just fine to me. If I was super concerned about it, you can just raise your stop to that 207 level, right? I mean, if you're really that concerned about it, and I really don't even have a problem putting the stop there myself, you really shouldn't be breaking that breakout bar, and that's right below your 8-day. So you really should not be closing below the 8-day and wanting to be in there. I really, you might not want to go to the 21 and test it. So that's personal preference, but I probably will move that up to the 8-day. There's no reason. There's too many, sometimes I'll raise my stops a little tighter because there's just too many things that are working right now that you want to be involved with. And I by looking at the market, I think it's only going to get better. Lulu broke out today, and this has been one that I had in that top 10 list that I do every Saturday. So every Saturday, we do a top 10 of stocks to watch on the week. This one, when we looked at it, was 70. We were looking for this to break, 77. It did. It came back down, and I avoided it just because we didn't have any volume, right? Well, we came back down to the 21, and then we just ran. Now, the volume's kicking in. But I still don't have a lot of volume, but I really like the stock, but I just don't have a lot of volume, and I have a lot of time here. So when this closes tomorrow, I guarantee it's going to close probably with a 4. And this is your weekly, and I just want to point this out. If I close right here on my weekly, right? If I close right here on the weekly, and this is out a year, right? It's over a year, and that's why it's not on the chart, because we're all thinking that it broke out. That's your breakout, okay, on Lulu. That's your breakout on Lulu. Like if that happens tomorrow, you probably should pay attention to the stock. I may throw a little caution in the wind on the volume and just assume that there's a reason why the volume's so light, which usually just means, see, if you buy a breakout on light volume, all it really means is that the chance of the trade working is just less. So that's just the way to look at it. It doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just means that the probability is less. But if I'm going to do this and I have this on top of this, everybody that has watched that candlestick video knows what. What is this? right? That is a bullish engulfing. So if I have a bullish engulfing on the weekly and I clear the all-time high from last August, over a year and a half ago, right? You can do the count from here to here, right? So it's roughly 100 something points, which means that I could have a 50% move higher from here, right? And then you can see this channel. Like, look at this channel. I won't spend an inordinate amount of time on it, but look at this channel. I mean, it's 500, right? That's 500 if you're there today, because the channel keeps going. So I would definitely have that on my radar. Microsoft is being Microsoft. Came down, got us out. We got out at 278 after making a decent trade on it. Could have made more, 13 points. So obviously could have made more. It's interesting because I don't really want to use, for the newsletter, I really don't want to use the 21 days because it's too much. It's different if like you're catching this and you're in that long and then you say, yeah, I just want to stay in it. And then you just don't use the 8. But the 8 was respected the entire time. So the time that the 8 broke, and the fact that the 8 broke right against this major trend line, right, was concern enough. So that was enough. Now you have earnings coming out on the 27th, right around when Apple comes out with earnings. Microsoft on the software side, I actually think will fare better than Apple, quite frankly, for earnings. So Net, I know a lot of people are looking at this name today, and I just want to get into this so that we're all on the same page with it. You just watch this up here. Okay, you have a trend line. This one doesn't really matter, but we're going to put that in there because if you can flip this one, you're going to this one. And that one is enormous. But I'm running right into this. So for those that are looking at Net and frothing at the mouth to buy it, just be really careful because this 119 levels could be an issue. This kind of stock likes to do this. For whatever reason, it's a buy the dip kind of name, and then it runs. So just be careful. That level's out there. NVIDIA, I love the name. You might have some real issues here with that ARM deal, but I try not to make this a fundamental talk. I try to make it a technical talk. So with NVIDIA, I need to break this line. Okay. I need to get above the 21 day. I'm having trouble with that. Ever since I broke it, I have not gotten above it. And now I'm sitting on that line going into tomorrow option expiration, right? So, and you can see like, I can just actually put this all the way up here now. So I'm just in no hurry here whatsoever. None. And let's look at what happened today. Okay. We can get rid of all these indicators for a moment, right? I opened, popped my head over what? My trend line, and I came right back down. So why do I need to be involved in this right now? I just don't. So this one was not on my radar, and this is why I love doing these videos, because somebody showed me this and they are 100% right. This is very interesting to pay attention to right now. And let's get into this one. So let's look at these indicators. So do you see what's happening here? Like, first off, let's just go through this, right? So you had some earnings, and the earnings were never really seemed to be the issue, except when, right? In March it was, but it really wasn't our issue in November, and we actually ran up ahead of time. So it's not like I'm having earnings misses. And if you look at the earnings, they're pretty decent across the board, right? So you're constantly going up on them, and then you came back down here, and it could just be a seasonal thing. And now you're coming into another earnings, and look how the stock's acting as we're coming into earnings. It's almost like someone's expecting them to have good numbers. Now, what else I like about this is here. Look at this volume, right? That volume is spiking right up here. And I know that's kind of hard to see. So what we're going to do with this is I'm just going to throw this out there on a relative basis so you can see how it's popping up over here, right? And you can see that that's almost 2x average volume. Well, that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking for something that's trading at 2x average daily volume, right? Has a stronger relative volume. Now, if we overlay this and realize that this stock is coming up, right? It's basing. So there's a couple other things that we might want to use here. Another one, another couple issues, right? We're going to look at the RSI. Well, what's the RSI doing? Well, the RSI is above this line, right? So right here, okay, you're above that level, right? So everything's pretty much chugging along right the way that it should. And that's really what you want to see, okay? You really want that to continue. Now, in regards to this volume by price, look at what transpired, okay? We're hitting point of control. We can get rid of this RSI for a moment. Let me actually get rid of this volume too so we can look at a bigger chart for those that are on their mobile. And we can blow this up. So look at what I'm doing here. I'm respecting my point of control, and I stopped right at volume by price VWAP. Look at how hollow this is. This is a perfect shot to get to this. So what I would look for here to start, right? There's some other issues here, but what I would look to start is get me above this volume by price VWAP, and then I may be interested in a trade here. Because to me, it looks like it wants to go higher before earnings. Now, whether or not you stay in after earnings or before earnings is up to you. Roku is on my short list. I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't really need the volume by price on this. And I really don't need anything on this except my little chart. So let's just look at what happened today. I got out of my range, right? I opened. I got out of my range. I went up. Everyone got all excited and giddy because this time it's really going to go. It doesn't break above this red bar, right? Doesn't break above that red bar, does it? And then it comes here, and then I form an inverted hammer, and I'm setting up for what? I'm setting up an evening star to pop back into this channel and head back down. So this is not something that I want to be running into right now. So I just want to point that out. I like this name a lot. I want to buy it. Okay. I mean, I'll be blunt and just, I want it in the newsletter. It's going to be a monster, but here's my cup. Here's my handle, and I'm failing. So until I see signs of life, you know, I'm no interest. Shop got added to the newsletter today, right around here. 1600. I was asked about the name. I like it. It bothered me today that it didn't go higher, but you know, they're not all going to go straight up when they execute. And this executed. This opened at the low, closed right here, and I'm going into option expiration tomorrow, but I think that we're going to get to the upper end of this channel. I really do. So I like the name and I'm going to stay with it. Snap just absolutely destroyed their earnings tonight. I mean, just absolutely destroyed them. And you can kind of, between this and the conference call and everything that's going on with it, like it's just going to keep going higher, right? Like this is a clear and utter stock that is heading for what? It's heading for its high. It's heading for its all-time high. It's setting itself up as this is going to be one of the dominant forces in social media, okay? And I would not be surprised at all to see this go over this level tomorrow. And what does this do for us, right? Just walk through this. Okay. There's your base. Okay. So I'm going to have a year base. I mean, you can even drop it down, call this the base. It doesn't really matter. It goes back to here. Since December, I have a 7-month base. And here I go, breaking out. Okay. This has massive potential. And let's look at this on the weekly. Okay. So we just can get a better understanding of what's going on. So this is me on the weekly. Now tomorrow, this bar is going to encapsulate what? The entire bar previously, as long as we close above that, 66. It's going to encapsulate this bar too. So you're going to have a bullish engulfing, right, breakout if we get above this level on your weekly chart. I mean, that is telling you you're going higher. That is setting you up to go higher. So let's see what happens with it. You know, it's very interesting stuff when you look at this stuff on a weekly and what you can find, right? So, but I like this a lot. And I know it had a big move today. I don't think it's over. I don't like chasing this stuff after hours. You can trade it around for a couple dollars. you really wanted to get through the call and you really want to watch it open tomorrow and then look for the pullbacks to try to build a position. But to me, this looks like it could go, this could go a lot higher. So let's see how it plays out. Square, there are a lot of people that are really interested in this name and want to own it. Look, let's get rid of this really quickly, right? You can see that you're actually up about $1 after hours. You ran right to this level and you stopped. You know, that's my concern. If I want to be in this, I don't want to be in this for $10. I think this and PayPal are pretty much the death of banks to some extent, right? But what you're saying is a huge base, and here I'm trying to break out of that base. I don't really want to play it for this. I'm more interested in get me through this level, and then maybe I'll pay attention to you, and we'll go to here. And there was a really simple thing I used today, and I'll just give you a quick tip here. So this is all I used today, right? I broke out, and then someone was talking to me saying, should I buy this? And I said, no, it hasn't broken above this yet. Now, it did break above this here, trigger, and then pull back, but never broke the low. So someone may be in that trade because of that. But, you know, right here, this long red bar down was a sign. So Twtr had really good revenue numbers, The issue, and this is after hours, the issue is that their daily average users and monthly average users are declining, and they're declining at a rate faster than anticipated. What is problematic is that they're not addressing that issue, right? So as more details came out, stock's going to come down, and that's really what you're saying. You're just seeing it like kind of pegged now, right? It's kind of just pegging that 73, but when everybody's all excited because they saw the revenue number, but then your daily average users are dropping. What they're not talking about is that if you are on Twitter and you use Twitter, you are fully aware of the amount of ads that you're seeing now, right? You're starting to see a lot more ads. And it's their prerogative. It's their site. They can do whatever they like. But it does diminish the experience of being on there. So especially if they're not relevant. So, right? So, and then you can just kind of see what happened here. And you can't get above that. So I would watch this tomorrow. To me, the names to be in, frankly, in this space, I think this has a chance of just fading tomorrow. If I was in this and I got this, I would be out, especially with how I'm fading. I wouldn't want to play games. I don't know that you're going to see upgrades on this name tomorrow. I do think you're going to see people upgrade Snap tomorrow, and I do think people may upgrade Facebook even ahead of earnings and take the risk. I think the analysts might take the risk after looking at Snap. And Snap's business model is much more similar to Facebook's than Twitter's is. So Twitter's kind of by itself, and in what it's doing and in its format. It's basically just it's tweets. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not as multi-dimensional some of the other platforms, just the way it is. So Spaces is great. I kind of like Spaces. I should try and do more of those. I kind of dig those. 161.51 is your key level here, right? Wingstop, boom, broke out of that. Now what? You got to go to 172. I wouldn't touch this until I get above that. I mean, I know people love this name. They love Wingstop. But I wouldn't do that until it gets through that 172. If you could do me a favor and please click the like button. I'm trying to get in front of as many people as possible to show them what it takes to be truly successful at trading. So I would appreciate it. Thank you. And share the video if you think someone can benefit from it. So Wynn Resorts, I just wanted to cover this very, very quickly. See this support line? I don't even need these. We all get it. It's below every moving average, right? So I just want to cover this for whomever may be in this or thinking about buying it. All I'm doing is running here, coming up, and I reverse today. Okay, that is a bearish engulfing on top of a rising channel. Like this is actually where you put your short on and you use this as your stop. Just FYI, I didn't do that trade, but that's the trade. This is a bearish engulfing on a rising channel, right? Going through this with all these moving averages, right? So this is where you'd put your short on and leave your short on and come back down here and see if you break this level, okay? Again, you didn't undercut this. If you undercut this, you may have had your bottom in. You don't have your bottom in. XPEL, I just wanted to cover this one very quickly. Solid breakout, but look at this. If I drew this just a little bit better, okay? Just that alone, you're getting through, couldn't pop through it. We can get through these levels. Whoops. So you can see where I'm going with this, hopefully. And let's open this up and go there. I'm going to cover one more that's going to be out of alphabetical order, and it's going to infuriate somebody who does the timestamps for us. But I just want to go through this trade. Look, you see this level? That's where you closed. Get above this wick before you add to it. If you're looking at buying XPEL, you got to get above that wick, because that'll show you that you're fine. I'm just going to run through this real quick because I did get asked about it. We had two different buys on this, and I just want to cover it very quickly for people that are asking about what to do with it. So we have two different buys on this, right? We bought this at 219 and we bought this at 253. The stops moved to 242 for now. The stop's going to go higher later tonight. Volume's increasing. This is becoming the clear winner of the vaccine space. And I want to point that out, that you're seeing countries say that they're going to use this, and I'm not a scientist, so if I screw it up, I apologize, that they're going to use this for the, quote, booster shots for their country. Okay. If they're going to do that, right, and this is the one that they keep using, so far I think it's China and South Africa have said that, what you're starting to see is you're starting to see these pull away. So today this was up 7%. Okay. You opened at the low, you closed where? At the high. What'd you do the day before? Okay. People are there's always a winner. There's always going to be a winner, right? We just don't know which one it is. So today, what did mRNA do? Okay, up 39 basis points. And some people will say, oh, it's moved greater than BNTX. It actually, if you really look at it from 100 to this level, yeah, maybe, but not even remotely close to, where we were back here when we were at 80 to where you're at now. So I would just argue that you're starting to see people making decisions, right? Like this one, we did a day trade on this, and then we made some money on it, but it just really didn't give us what we were looking for, right? Didn't give us that break. And what you're seeing is people are determined to determine who the winner is. And you're seeing that people are using this, and they're saying that this one is the one that is going to be the go-to. It also might explain why you saw this breakout on Visor. So that's it. As always, reach out and ask questions and comment. Thank you very much.